Okay, Sean, are you there?
I'm here.
We are?
Okay.
Pablo, you there?
Yes, I am.
Hey!
We did it.
The man, the myth, the legend.
Yeah. The quasi-international guest.
Yes.
Yeah, I like that.
That is for sure the very first quasi-international guest.
Yeah.
So just
Believe it
so,
or not, yeah.
just so I know, you guys vote in our election, right?
We can vote on primaries, but we cannot vote for the general election.
Well, that's some bullshit.
Yes, you come. I mean, I say you, but meaning Americans. They come here, they ask for money, they raise money, they get a bunch of money. We vote for them on the primaries, and then they go back to the States and they forget about us for the next 4 years.
Yeah, you guys really ought to be the 51st state. I think that should be the stance of the podcast from now on. Puerto Rico, the 51st state.
That's a controversial subject.
That's hey, we're gonna throw that out there, Pablo. We're gonna throw that out there. The gauntlet is down. And you're gonna be the first senator from Puerto Rico.
Oh my God! No way. There's some things that even free are too expensive. That's one of them.
Vote for Pablo. We're getting some Kayak Flyer stickers that say "Vote for Pablo."
No, man. Politics is not my thing.
This is Kayak Flyer. I'm Sean.
And Adam.
And Pablo.
That's right. We've got Pablo. The infamous Pablo is on the episode tonight. You're going to want to stay tuned. This is going to be a knockdown, drag-out, great episode. We have inside jokes lined up for all of you to head over to our Instagram page, Kayak Flyer, and get in on them before the end of the episode. But the first thing I want to do is I want to thank one of our great sponsors. I want to thank CutthroatFurledLeaders.com. The past 2 weekends, I've run down to the Spring River in Arkansas and fly fished. The first week, I used a streamer leader, and I was pulling out rainbow trout like crazy. This weekend, the water was a little bit deeper, and I threw on a sinking leader. That easy to switch. I just decided what fly I wanted and switched it while I was in the water, and bang, 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 rainbow trouts were hitting every bottom fly that I threw. These leaders are absolutely amazing. Head over to CutthroatFurledLeaders.com. Use promo code KAYAK to save 15%. You guys know how much I love them. I know you're going to love them. Go ahead and hit us up on the hotline at 317-456-2534, and I'll mail you a leader. That's right, I will mail you a leader. Hit me up at 317-456-2534. I've got about 5 leaders ready to mail out, postage paid. Here we go. Save the day. CutthroatFurledLeaders.com. Promo code Kayak, save 15%. Adam?
Yeah, we've got Cutthroat Leaders, and then we also have Ethan from StoneflyNets.com, who has jumped on board and helped us out. We've also had Ethan on as a guest in the past. Go back into the archive section of Kayak Flyer and search for StoneflyNets.com, and you'll just have a great time listening to all the great conversations that we had with Ethan. He makes great handmade nets, and the quality that he has on those things are just superb. He's fresh off of one of his showcases up in Wyoming, and I know that he's been out there working really hard at promoting his company, and anybody can go out and support him and everything he does. It's just a fantastic company and a fantastic guy, and that's Ethan over at StoneflyNets.com.
Okay, and also, Bejuco Flat Fly Company. For all English speakers, in Spanish is Bejuco Flat Fly Company. Use the promo code Kayak Flyer and you get an extra fly with every order. I sell flies mostly for saltwater, but I will tie any fly, size 6 or bigger.
So you're saying
tell me what you need.
You're saying that we were saying it wrong?
No, in English it would be Bejuco, for sure.
You're just being nice. It's okay. I understand.
No, and
Adam
and the
screwed
thing
that
is,
up so bad last time. He kept saying bajuco. I'm like, no, it's not a jalapeno pepper. You know.
no, if you pronounce it bejuco, nobody from the States will find it. But that's the name, because that if you say bejuco, nobody will type that and find me. So you can find me on Instagram or Facebook, like Bejuco Flat Fly Company with the J.
There we go.
Yeah.
And I have to say, Pablo's not only a sponsor of the show. I tried to get him not to get into this craziness. I asked him like 4 times. I'm like, please don't. You don't want to get into this craziness. And he just was very persistent. But Pablo has actually been a Facebook friend of mine since right after the podcast started. And just a super nice guy. The only thing is he puts up these really funny memes, but they're all in Spanish.
Yeah. I try to translate some, but it's kind of tricky. Something don't translate. You know, the jokes get lost in translation.
That's kind of how it is. It's one of those things. But Pablo, I have to say, I am super excited to have you on board with us, and you and we've got a whole group of homies down there in Puerto Rico now. I think we're up to 15 guys down there that are following us and listening to us, and that's just awesome. That's more than what people do here in the town that I live in.
That's really nice. I'm very excited to be here. I've been promoting the podcast. This is the most laid-back fly fishing podcast I hear. And I like the structure of the podcast. It's like hanging out with friends after a fishing day. That's really nice. And I've been telling my friends to listen. So I think out of those 15, some of them may have heard about it from me. That's
very good. Well, I know a couple of them have because, and I'm going to mess up. It's Joran. How do you say that down there?
George?
Huh?
Is George in English?
George in English, yeah. But how would you say it?
Jorge.
That's how you spell Jorge?
Yes,
oh,
Jorge.
That's odd. I didn't know that. Yeah. Jorge Moran has been listening to us, and he's friended me personally on Facebook, which I try to urge everybody not to do. But he seems like he seems like a super chill guy, man.
Yeah, he is. He is a very good friend of mine and fishing buddy. We talk about fishing almost every day.
That's incredible. I've got a couple of my friends that talk to me about fishing every day, but it's usually them trying to convince me to tie them whatever fly they want.
No, we keep talking materials. When we see a special, for example, from Fly Tires Dungeon, hey, Jorge, did you see the latest special? This material, I tried this material. So we keep always going back and forth about flies and techniques and things to do.
Have you did you hear about Fly Tires from Dungeon from us, or did you already know about them?
No, I know about them. I have a stash of material to tie for the next 3 or 4 generations.
Because the episode with the mad scientist was really good. I really enjoyed it. Really enjoyed talking to him. He's a super cool guy, but his products. And I hate now that people are paying for it. I don't want to give him a plug for free, but I mean, he has some great stuff at cheap prices, and he did a great podcast.
And that's true. His materials are first quality, and the prices are absolutely cheap. That I will not be able to price my flies at the price level I have them now if I wasn't buying materials from him.
Oh, it's amazing. And I will say this, and I'm going to be kind of catty. Okay, this is normally Adam's job to be catty. Mm-hmm. But when the mad scientist sent out his newsletter, he had us in a podcast, and he had another podcast listed saying, come listen to him. And I listened to the other one. And where he and I were talking about his products, the other podcast was like, so what do you sell? And I'm sitting here going, dude, what an amateur. You know what I mean?
Do your homework.
Yeah, the other podcast will remain nameless, but I've been buying his stuff. And I've, on the YouTube channel, on the Kayak Flyer YouTube channel, I've had unboxing stuff from long before he had ever come on the podcast where I'd been shopping with him. And, it's a do your homework kind of thing, like you said.
Yeah, absolutely.
So.
Yeah, so hey, Pablo, the the box of flies that I got from you in the mail last week are all the flies tied with material that you got from Fly Tires Dungeon?
Yes, everything but the crafter, everything is from Fly Tires Dungeon.
Yeah, very cool. I mean, you can definitely tell, and we'll move on from them, of course. I want to talk more about you and your flies and everything, but it ties into that. I mean, again, the quality of the flies that you sent it's just awesome. I cannot wait to get those out on the water. It's going to be a blast. And you're right, the mouse pattern that you sent, I showed that to all three of my kids, and they all just freaked out about it. They thought that was the coolest thing they've ever seen.
Thank you so much. No, I thought that if I ever fail selling flies, I can tie cat toys. I can make a book or two.
You just got to stick a little catnip in there, and you're good to go, man. Yeah,
and that's it. You use a larger hook, you can cut off at the bend, and off we go.
If we're going to go there, can I make two comments?
Of course, yeah.
Okay, the first I want to celebrate. Thanks to Pablo and Ethan from Stonefly Nets and Mike from CutthroatProLeaders.com, we are now an LLC.
Ooh, yeah, moving on up.
We had the paperwork done. We had the paperwork done. We are a LLC. We are soon to have our own bank account. And
doesn't mean anything's going to be in it, though.
No, there won't be much in it. That'll all go right back out. You know what I mean? But we're only going. The only thing we're going to do is we're only going to take on one more sponsor, and it's going to have to be somebody that's paying big bucks, like beer money, big bucks. And then the other thing that I wanted to say is talking about having the cat toys. Pablo, I have an outside cat. I love my outside cat. I hate my inside cat. The big, fat, orange cat that lives down the street named Cheeto eats my outside cat's food.
Oh,
Cheeto. That's a good cat name, Cheeto. Just so we're being honest here, that's pretty good.
That is a good cat name. Yep. So the other day, and luckily Billy doesn't listen to the podcast, I got my drone out, and I chased that cat up and down the street with my drone.
Did you get video of it? Did you have a video camera attached?
Yes. I'm telling you what, buddy. About 1.5 feet off the ground, I'm having to fly forward and lift up as he goes up the hill and drop down as he goes down. And he hasn't eaten cat food out of my cat's bowl since then.
That's funny.
So you keep you keep those cat toys at your house, Pablo.
Yeah, I better.
Maybe I should. You know what? Maybe you should make one for me to give to Cheeto for Christmas so he forgives me.
Oh, yeah, but that may work. Ask him what his favorite color or shape, and I'll try him out like that.
I think his answer will be meow.
Yeah, so I'll try to translate that to a fly.
Oh. But that was the most exciting news I had this week, is tormenting the neighbor's cat and getting the LLC. So
I want to see that video.
Yeah,
I do too. Yeah,
I'll post it somewhere private where PETA can't get a hold of me.
Yeah,
nobody ever calls the hotline at 317-456-2534, but now they're going to and tell me how awful I am for chasing the neighbor's cat.
Yeah, you're a horrible human, things like that.
We're gonna get more listeners off controversy.
Yeah.
So Pablo, and I'm going to drop some of that, not all that conversation we had before, but I'm going to put a little bit of it as people probably already heard it. But Pablo, being from Puerto Rico, you grew up there. You went to college there. You've lived there your entire life, correct?
Yes.
What's that?
I grew up here. It's amazing. It's summer all year long.
That's why I'm moving there.
Summer all year long. We're freezing at 70 degrees.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Okay.
What I would give for that.
We're going to be building an extra room on your house for me to stay at.
Yeah, I have a cat room, so you can stay there.
That sounds great. Now, we have to ask the question because we still need that beer money sponsor. What kind of beer can you get down there? You there?
From the microbreweries. Can you hear me?
Yeah,
There we go.
I'm here.
All right. Do you guys get beer down there, or do you just drink the rum with ice?
Beer. We get the same beers you get over there, except from the microbreweries, the very small places you have over there. Those don't get here, but we have over the major brands. They're very expensive, some of them, by the way.
So I could bring my home brewing kit down there and make a killing. Is that what you're telling me?
Absolutely. We have a lot of microbreweries here too, and people that make beer at their houses and all that. So definitely bring it. I'll let you stay in the cat room for free if you bring it.
Honey, I want a divorce. I'm moving in with Pablo. This is going to be great.
With Pablo's cat, by the way. Not with Pablo. That's okay.
Yeah, he's putting you in the cat room, man.
Yeah, I put you in the cat room.
That's fine. I'll fly the drone around with the cat. It's all right.
Yeah.
Oh.
So it's really nice living here. It's the beach is nearby. Most of the time, the beach is really nice. The fishing is great. Absolutely great.
You put photos up all the time of some crazy fish that you catch. Can you just give us sort of your top 3 fish to fish for, and then maybe your top, it's really cool when I catch one of these fish?
Yeah, my top 3. The top 3 here is will be the flat fish, which is the ones you need to make a grand slam. It's a snook, a tarpon, and bonefish. Those 3 I can target without traveling more than 20 minutes from my house.
See, Jorge keeps putting up these pictures of these small tarpon, and I just assumed they were born 6 feet long, but he's catching 2 and 3 foot tarpon. I guess he's using a 5-weight fly rod for that?
No, he uses 6-weight and an 8-weight. Yeah, and he can get those baby tarpons right across the street from where he lives, basically. So
if you come down to vacation, you could, can you surf fish for those?
Not in the surf, but tarpon spend their early year in and even fresh water. So those small tarpon, the best place to target them is in small canals and where the river meets the ocean. Those areas, they're the better places to catch small tarpon. To catch the big ones, those are the ones you go to the surf. And not the surf, just the quiet areas, the bays. You see them rolling back and forth.
That's amazing that you can go into those small waters and catch. And I mean, I'm sure they're horrible to eat because they're like a bonefish, but they're absolutely beautiful fish, and they're supposed to fight like crazy.
Yes, they're protected, so they're 100% catch and release, the same as bonefish. And yes, they fight like super hard. Was catching the shore directly in the beach with brackish water, those fight really, really hard. And they have a lot of stamina you can spend. The last time I spent 15 minutes landing one, which was 3 feet long. And then they come, and when you think you grab them or you're going to grab the leader, there's one more run. He did that 3 times. I grabbed the leader 3 times before I was able to land it. And every time I touched the leader, he went off ballistic all the way.
I've only fished in Florida once, and so I've never really had an opportunity to target snook. But what's that like?
I only capture small snook. The biggest one was almost 18 inches, and it was in a river. But I know guys here go to the specific places in the shore at night, and they catch them with bait. And they catch monsters, dinosaur type snooks. But those big ones, they mostly catch them at night, or we have a swamp area in the north of the island, and you cannot fish from the shore. But if you go in kayak, you for sure will land some decent-sized snooks, and they fight really good. They don't jump; they are not as acrobatic as tarpon, but they do a really good fight, and they can cut through tippet like nothing. So you have to put a strong tippet there, like a 40-pound fluoro, if you're going to target the big ones.
So one last question before I hand this over to Adam and let him talk to you for a minute. Brown trout up here, you almost have to fish for at night. And I heard that you went trout fishing once.
Oh, yes. I tried that. That's how I got into fly fishing. 5 years ago, I was in Mexico and Albuquerque for 2 months for work. And I decided, I want to go fishing. I didn't have any of my conventional fishing gear. I wasn't a fly fisher, nothing. I went to the store. I bought a fly rod, a conventional spinning and fly rod from Eagle Claw. A cheap rod. I spent like $100 in gear because I was going to a specific place that they have some lagoons or ponds that you can go and catch and release and fish for trout, rainbows and browns. And I go to the place, and I go there, and I at the sports store, I bought this can of, it's like a paste, which was supposed to attract the trout, because before that I was a bait fisherman and very bad at it, okay? So I go to the place, I say, hey, I want to fish, I want to go to the catch and release pond, this is what I'm going to do, and they say, what do you have to bait? A bait for the fish. I say, I bought this from Berkeley. That doesn't work. You need this. So this lady cost me $20 to $30 more of gear, on top of the $100 I already spent. Okay? As soon as she hands me the receipt, she said, one thing, they're not biting. You're it's too early in the season. You're not gonna catch one. She told me some bobbers and some flies to use, like a spin fly, to fish them like that. And I spent the whole morning there getting a suntan in the Albuquerque sun in the desert, just seeing the trout cross in front of me back and forth and ignore my fly and everything. So I left with the suntan and a lot of frustration. And then I forgot about the fish for the rest of the trip.
I think that's what most trout fishermen end up with, is a suntan and a lot of frustration.
That's true.
You got
I
the
just
full
love the
experience.
fact that she upsold you on that bait and then told you, oh, by the way, this won't work.
Yeah. She gave me like pistol pits. That's what she sold me. She sold me like a bunch of pistol pits, bobbers, and line, everything. And I even bought in the sports store, I bought a net. In Puerto Rico, we don't use nets when we go fishing. Never. We handle the fish with our hands. That's it. We never use nets. So I bought a net and everything. And
that's the thing with
nothing.
trout.
They're not biting.
Trout can exhaust and die so easy. We were down there. I think we only saw 4 this weekend floating, but last weekend on Labor Day we saw a bunch of floaters. But trout. If and the nets that Ethan makes from Stonefly have the plastic webbing in them, so they get wet and they sort of stay wet. And then, unlike a conventional net that has the threaded or braided fabric in there, your fly doesn't get hooked in it. And you really, if you're going to trout fish, you've got to have one of these nets like Ethan makes at Stonefly. Yeah.
Yeah, those are works of art, yes.
Yes, and because you don't even want to get the trout out of the net. You just want to take your little hemostats and pop the fly out of its mouth and then put it back. Unless it's big enough, you just want to, and you've got to wet your hands, and then you want to pick it up and take a picture of it, and then get it right back in the water. But you can actually fight those to the point that they're dead. The minute they hit the net, they'll be dead because they're so sensitive on how they deal with things. It's really messed up.
I never known that a fish could be so delicate until I, started trout fishing a lot more often. But all of that said, I mean, it seems like that's a lot of hassle. Other fishermen might, when you're not trout fishing, you may not think about it. But if you really have intentions of catch and release or whatnot, I mean, it's almost like you got to take these precautionary measures and know ahead of time what you're getting yourself into. Otherwise, they don't stand a chance.
Well, that's one thing that Wade and I get into an argument about. He likes to fish a ultralight fly rod, and he doesn't even net them. He just gets them close and just pops the hook out and never gets them out of the water, because with that ultralight you have to fight them so much longer. And I'm sure there's some saltwater fish like that too, Pablo, that you've got to be kind of delicate with.
Oh yeah, some of them they're very delicate. Mackerel, they tend to be like that. Ladyfish, they put a huge fight. It's like fighting a tarpon. But if you are not fast releasing them, they're dead. Almost all of the rest that I have caught myself, they seem to be pretty resistant. So hearing your story about how delicate trout are, it's no wonder why I get flamed a little bit when I use ultra gear to target bonefish or baby tarpon. I get, if I post a picture of a bonefish and I said I got it on a 3-weight or a 1-weight, all hell breaks loose because of that.
I can understand that.
Yeah, but the thing is, I think we've spoken before, I'm an engineer, so I'm always trying to challenge the mechanics of the thing. If I were to exhaust a fish, I will not use that gear. So one time I landed a bonefish on a 1-weight. People were saying, you should have turned that fish into a mush. That fish is probably dead. All bunch of things. My wife took a video, which I will never post because it will reveal the spot. Yeah, no way. So, but it took 1 minute, 30 seconds from hooking the fish to having it on my hand. That's it. 1 minute, 30 seconds. Because of the place we were getting them and the amount of pressure I put on it with the reel. 1 minute, 30 seconds is a decent fight for a bonefish, which takes you into the back in once or twice. So it's actually pretty fast.
Wow, that's incredible. I'm curious, Pablo, you've listed off obviously several different species of fish that you've had the opportunity to catch. Is there, that unicorn fish out there that you've always wanted to catch on the fly, but you haven't had the opportunity to, or maybe if, somewhere else in the world you'd have to go to, what would be that one fish that you would just love to be able to catch?
A big permit. They're here, but they're as difficult as everywhere. They are. Yeah,
I just heard permit fish. I mean, you could go a lifetime without ever even hooking up on one, even as opposed to even fighting one and breaking it off.
Yeah, I've never seen big ones. I landed one which was like about the size of my hand, and I was blind casting into the mangroves, searching for snappers, and I landed a permit. But that one doesn't count. It was too small. But I want to land it. Yeah, because in saltwater flat fishing, most of the time you see your target, so you want to present your fly to the target and go through the whole process. And I've never got that chance with permit. The other thing I would love more than anything in the world is to decipher bonefish. Those picky bastards are something else. Last year I caught a bunch of them. This year with the same flies, all I got was refusals all the time.
Did you just say
All
those
the time.
sneaky bastards?
No, they're picky bastards. There's no sneaky. They're picky bastards.
Picky bastards.
Yeah.
You made
No,
me
no
snort.
piggy, no picky. Yeah. You understand piggy and you snore. It's picky.
Pablo, you're a hell of a guy.
That's
No,
great.
they're really picky, and they change diets. It seems like from one year to the other, there was a change in season on what they were feeding, and getting them to eat is a third of the battle. Once you have them on the hook, it's the fight because they're gonna zigzag through the coral and they're gonna cut you off if you're not fast enough and keep that rod really high.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's landing them. So it's tricky. It's tricky.
So, I mean, I guess if you don't mind, from a fly tying perspective, what were you tying last year that was working so well? And then now, if you have to change it up and think that it's a complete dietary switch, what would you change the fly to this year in hopes to maybe get some more of those?
For example, last year I was getting them on a small shrimp pattern, olive shrimp pattern. I tied in size 6 and 8. I call it the bonefish crack.
Okay.
It's out there in Belluco Flats Fly. Last year they were smashing those. And they also like quans, which is a hybrid between a crab and a shrimp, because it has feedlers, but it has the shell that is similar to the tarpon toads that I sent you.
Mm-hmm.
But this year, I got them to eat quans once or twice, and that was it. I'm a nerd, so I do a lot of research on flies, fish techniques, things like that. So I've been reading on prey, the natural prey they eat, and things I see in the beach. And I know they eat a lot of sand fleas, but I've never been able to hook one of them with sand fleas.
Mm-hmm.
What I'm tying now for them for the next time the sea is good for them is gobies, small gobies. It's like a small fish that jumps in the sun. It's almost always on the bottom. Just moves, doing little swimming short distances in the sand. And from what I read, bonefish like those. So I've been tying those in patterns that are similar in color to the bottom of where I fish to see if I can get them to eat when the conditions get better. These days the sea is rough, and it's going to get rougher when it gets cold in the States. The cold fronts start coming down, and the sea gets rough until spring.
Huh. So you don't see much, I guess, from a weather perspective and temperature perspective. It doesn't change a whole lot, but you can definitely tell the change in the seasons from the water perspective, then, I guess. Or is that just a completely ignorant statement on my behalf?
No, but it's true. We see some drop in temperature, and we see changes in temperature. In winter, for example, we get the bottom freezing 65 to 70. And July, August, we get...
See, you felt bad even just saying that.
Yeah, I felt terrible because I've been to the States so many times on their snowstorms and all that. So I know how it... Yeah, sorry about that. And also because of the sea. In Puerto Rico, from fall to winter and early spring, the north of the island, the sea is very rough because of the cold fronts. Once you start getting cold over there, we get small windows of where the sea is good for fishing and going, but most of the time it's going to be rough. And then in the summer, it quiets down almost completely. So, and it's the opposite in the south of the island.
So
it's quite the opposite.
Well, I just want to ask, this is a greedy question. I'm going in October back down to Louisiana for my annual fishing trip. You saw the disco shrimp that I had tied. What kind of fly would you tie? Do you have redfish down there, first of all? And if so, what pattern would you fish with for them?
We don't get redfish here, but from what I heard from people that have been to Florida and all that, friends that have been fishing for them in Alabama, they smash crabs. They like crabs. But you have to watch if there's mullet run. If there's a small bait fish in the area where you see them, you have to switch to a Congo hair bait fish pattern for those. So make sure, aside from your disco shrimp, you understand the color of the bait fish they usually get down there in Louisiana and Taiwan, a few of those.
Yeah, and the disco shrimp are mainly, we've got a cabin this year that has a 400-foot dock.
Okay.
That's lit up. And
nice.
Then all of us are buying green LED lights to drop in, which is legal.
Okay.
And so the shrimp will be popping. And so those disco shrimp, I'm thinking if we drop them just outside the light and pop them in, the sand trout won't mess with them. The white trout won't mess with them, but the sea trout and the red should.
Yeah.
That's the goal.
Absolutely. Get some that can sink a little bit. Tie the same pattern without the foam. Instead of the foam, on top of it, put a long strip of craft fur or Congo hair instead of the foam, so they will sink a little bit.
Yeah, that's the other thing I need to do. The Dade wants me to buy some, and Loon gives me a discount. I've been lucky enough to get a discount from Loon, mainly from the YouTube channel. It's Kayak Flyer YouTube channel. But I'm thinking about mixing up some of the thick glue, the thick UV glue, with some of the glow-in-the-dark powder, and then taking Congo hair across the top and coating that in that glue so it glows in the dark, and then making the eyes glow in the dark, but leave the Congo hair white underneath to move. I think that would work.
Absolutely. I think so, too. Yes.
But that ought to work on other fish as well, I would think.
Yeah, absolutely. A tarpon wouldn't think it twice if you tie that in a size 2 or 1.
Yeah, and see, I think we may tie them in a size. We're probably going to tie a few in a size 1, and we're probably going to wind up tying some in a size 4 for the sea trout. And just because the slot limit's so generous down there, 16-inch sea trout hits in the slot,
Okay.
But the thing I wanted to ask you before we moved on, the Dade just sent me a photo from a guy who posted on Facebook yesterday. And they were in Grand Isle, Louisiana, where we were at surf fishing, and they were pulling out 5-foot black tips like crazy.
Wow.
What's your shark fishing experience down there?
Nothing. I'm also a scuba diver. It's actually very difficult from shore. I don't have a kayak. I have a belly boat, and I don't have a boat or anything. And it's very difficult from shore to see sharks here. Very difficult. If you want to see them, you're gonna spend tons of hours in the water before you get to see one.
Really?
And most probably you're gonna nurse shark. Yes. We don't get them. There's an island. Puerto Rico is a bunch of islands. There's the big one, and we have 2 major islands on the east side of the big island, which is Vieques and Culebra. And on the flats there, you see baby sharks chasing bonefish and going through the mangrove and all that. And there you can go and see them. I've never been there fishing for sharks. No, actually, I've never been there fishing. I've been there scuba diving only. But it's difficult in the big island to see sharks. We don't get them.
See, we've got, down Louisiana, last year when we were down there, 3 days after we were down there, a guy was posting surf fishing and pulling black tips out like crazy. And when I was in Florida, they were like, yeah, this is what you want to do, but don't get more than knee deep in the water at night. And they're like, the bull sharks were so bad. And you can look at photos. I saw a photo this year from where I was in Florida a couple years ago. It was a drone photo, and you had everybody on the beach, and then about 20 yards from them, there were just sharks. And so that's kind of weird.
Yes, it is. Yeah. I don't know if at night, the fishermen at night get them here. I don't fish at night. So I don't know how close to the shore they get. I have heard that in the mangrove channels, we may get bull sharks at night, but I've never seen those or anything.
Well, we've got that dock, and so part of the time we're going to be fishing is off that dock. So what I'm planning on doing, and don't tell anybody, Pablo, because it's my secret recipe.
Edit.
Yeah. I'm going to take some chicken, some rooster gizzards, because they're more fibrous. I'm going to wrap them around a hook and put some blood in a beer can that I've got the top off of. And I'm going to put a hook in there and a steel leader. I'm going to hold the steel leader out and tape it where the hook's in about the middle. Now I'm going to freeze water and some of the blood in there. And then I'm going to take those down there, and then I'm going to pull those out, let them melt a little bit, pull them out, and cast them out on a big surf rod. So as it melts, it chums.
Yeah.
I'm hoping to get I'm really hoping to get a shark.
How you do? What are you going to do once you have them on the line? Have you seen one of those? Once you hook them?
We've got some big surf rods, and so what I'm going to do is I'm going to hurry up and get a picture with it, with me with it, and then I'm going to push it back in the water.
I once went. Sorry.
I may lose a finger or two.
Yes, they fight like crazy. I went fishing for Atlantic salmon. Atlantic salmon. Sorry, edit that. Atlantic shark. It's a small shark that adult size is like 3 feet only, tops. I went fishing for those in Florida, bait fishing. Once I was on vacation. And once you get them on board, you have to be very, very careful. They are biting left and right and twisting and turning, and they're very, very difficult to handle. You have to step on them and grab them like really firm.
I may just have a drone picture of the shark close to me and then just be done with it that way then.
Yeah, I'm going to say you're going to come back missing 4 fingers or maybe even your right arm at this point.
I may just show that video to Cheeto and he'll stay out of my cat bowl.
There you go.
Just cut the line. Get your picture with the shark in the same frame and cut the line.
Yeah, that's probably what's going to happen.
I think Pablo is the voice of reason right now.
Well, you've never known me to listen to reason.
So, hey, Pablo, down there, do you get in Puerto Rico? Do you get a lot of, a lot of tourists in the fishing community? Are there a lot of outfitters out there that do guided services? What does that look like down there?
Yeah, we have a bunch of charters near San Juan, which is the capital city, and they get you out in blue water to fish for marlin, mahi-mahi, those kind of things. And they also take you fishing tarpon. Most of the charters I know take you either offshore or inshore fishing for tarpon. And there are a few, enough of them that you can go fly fishing with them. Some of them are actually fly fishermen themselves, and they will take you to fish anywhere you want. But mostly for tarpon. If you want to fish, for example, for bonefish with a guide, you have to go to Culebra Island. That's the only operation I know that targets specifically bonefish.
And that's over off the east side of the main island?
Yes, but that's like a $10 ferry and a half-an-hour trip, and you're on the island. That's it.
Okay.
And in the south, there's a famous guy. He's been in Travel Channel, Discovery, and all that. He's called Tarpon Hombre, a tarpon man. And he takes people chasing big tarpon on the fly all the time. So but mostly it's all focused on San Juan, which is the capital, and there's a couple of huge tarpon lagoons there. We have that have tarpon 50 pounds and over.
Wow.
Yeah, but you can book with most of them. Some of them you need to ask that if they do fly fishing, so that their boats are appropriate for you to fly fish.
Yeah.
And yeah, and some of them will do both. Will take you offshore fishing for big fish in the blue, and they'll take you fly fishing too.
Yeah. So it doesn't necessarily, I guess, it sounds like they're kind of all over, the mainland. It just depends on the outfitter, not necessarily, north, south, east, or west. The water is essentially the same. It's just a matter of the guide and where they're willing to take you. Is that right?
Yes. The thing is where you want to stay. Most of the people that come here stay in San Juan and surrounding areas. Some go to the islands on the east, but some people like to get away from the city, if you want to think about it that way, the big city.
Yeah.
And they go to the west, and then they get this other. It's a bit more limited, the outfitters that are there, but there's always a chance to go and fish anywhere you want. There's some place in the southwest that you can even go and rent your own small boat and go fishing there. They will tell you where to go fishing, and they'll just give you the boat. And in Puerto Rico, you don't need a license to fish anywhere.
That's incredible. Not needing a license to fish. With the and I'm going to ask you this. I mean, everybody's the hurricane came through a couple years ago and just was really rough on the island. And I'm not even going to pretend to know what you guys went through. But are tourism dollars critical to helping rebuild everything there?
I actually cannot tell you that. Tourism is a big industry here, but I will not say that was the main contributor to rebuilding the island. The island is back to normal. Everything is up and running.
Well, can I ask, if somebody wants to come down and, support you guys, tourism's one way to do it. It's you guys like the tourists, right?
Absolutely. Yes. And every tourist place here, you will have no issue because you will find people that speak English and they speak it really well, much better than I do, most of them. and yeah, not with a strong accent. And they will treat you really nice. Tourism here is very good to people from the north. You don't need a passport to come here. We are part of the United States ever since you invaded us almost more than 100 years ago. So it's all the same. The post system is the same. Phones is the same. A call to Puerto Rico is local. And the money is the same. You don't need a passport. It's all good. It's like being to Alaska, Hawaii, or any other state. You know
what, Pablo? I'm gonna quiz you on my Spanish.
Oh boy! Prepare yourself.
Yeah.
All right. This is the only Spanish.
I sound thrilled.
I even sit straight on my chair, waiting for it.
This is the only Spanish I know. It's dos cerveza, por favor.
That's more than enough if you keep asking for them.
Well, and what is that? What is that, though?
That's 2 beers, please.
That's exactly right, because I order them 2 at a time.
Yeah. That's the way to go.
Well,
aside from that, the only Spanish you need is to learn enough Spanish to don't get slapped.
I think I'm gonna stick with dos cerveza por favor and be done with it.
Yeah, but after you use that phrase 2 or 3 times, you better don't get slapped. That's when the other part comes in handy.
So, I mean, it's really neat talking to, because we're both Midwestern guys. Kevin Spacey, Adam and I are both Midwestern guys.
I'm Spacey, right? Yeah. It's the same.
Yeah. I mean, it's just so cool the way you can get connected with people just outside of your own, where you live and grow up. And I mean, it's just, I would have never thought that, I would have never thought I'd be on a podcast, let alone talking to somebody in Puerto Rico and learning about the different types of fly fishing and what you're doing down there. It's just really cool. Really cool. Maybe that's just us being nerds, but it is what it is, I guess.
Yes, it is. It's awesome.
Pablo, did you have anything you wanted to let Adam know that maybe we talked about before the show?
Yeah, I saw that picture, man. It's creepy. I've been listening to the story all along in the podcast, and I thought Sean is exaggerating. It cannot be that similar to Kevin Spacey. It's actually the son of Kevin Spacey, the clone. I was looking forward to meeting in person. No longer. I want to do that.
I don't know how much fun.
I feel safer on the phone.
That's mean, dude.
Oh my gosh, Pablo! I got to tell you, I don't know how much money Sean paid you for this.
No.
But clearly, it was a pretty penny. So his
No. It wasn't. I don't think there's nothing wrong with you. I don't want to anyone taking my picture, side by side with you anywhere. No, the security camera, no anything, no evidence I was ever nearby Kevin Spacey. No, forget about that. It's not personal, man. I'm sorry.
I'm not even mad about it. I just think that's fantastic.
Dude, you look like Kevin Spacey.
How creepy is that?
Oh, it's pretty terrible. I mean, let's just call it what it is. It's pretty terrible.
Adam, you're Captain Creepy Kevin Spacey, man. That's your new name.
No. That's like the last thing I want to be known as. But at this point in time, it's just going to be everywhere. So, yeah.
Well, I photoshopped your wife out of the photo whenever I put it on Instagram.
Oh my gosh. God, I don't even know what to say. I mean, I'm a little beside myself now.
Just make sure you get to pay. If you ever start losing hair in the front, get a toupee, so you won't look more similar. Okay.
That would just be it then, huh? Like there would be no denying the fact that I'm not that person.
Exactly. So make sure you keep your hair artificial or natural. Anyway, Rogaine, whatever you need to do, keep your hair. That's what the distinguishing factor as of now.
That's great. Hey, you know what, Pablo? I'll take it, man. You're at least giving me pointers here. All Sean does is give me jabs. So if you're going to do it, you're doing it the nicest way possible.
Oh, man.
Pablo, I know I sent you that picture, and you're like, he does look like Kevin Spacey.
Yeah, he is. And I think it's because of the gesture, he's doing in the picture. Probably in his day-to-day life, he doesn't look as creepy as in the picture, which is making me nightmares now.
That's his normal face, man. It's not a gesture. That's how he looks.
Oh. Okay. It was nice meeting you. Beep, 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 beep.
We lost you, buddy.
Oh, no, yeah.
You did? No, I hung up.
Back now. There you are. Let's start again.
No,
it's probably for the best. Let's just be real. It's probably just a dig at me, right?
No, it's okay.
He moved his phone away from his mouth because it was too mean for what he was saying.
I understand. I get it.
No, I said I'm going away. I said beep, 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 like the phone just dropping. And I just stayed silent. You didn't get the joke. You see? Some jokes don't.
Adam's slow. He's from Kansas.
I don't even understand those jokes. The island is so small, so we have dumb people everywhere.
So, Pablo, go ahead and plug your fly shop one more time and let folks know how they can find it, and especially, what kind of you can tie anything for whatever kind of fish, but just let people know something about that, because I mean you're such a gracious man to have asked to support us a long time ago, and we told you didn't want to get wrapped up with this Kevin Spacey lookalike over there.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Yes, my flight time business is Bejuco Flats Fly Company. You can find me in Instagram or Facebook. I have if you click the shop now button on any of those platforms, you'll get to my eBay listings. There's 98 different patterns for you to choose from, and you can choose any color from those patterns. If you want to change color or hook sizes from minimum of hooks size 6, any pattern, I'll do it for you. I'll keep adding as I am requesting, as I get requested custom patterns. I add them to the listings, and I just want you to have a good time in the water. My prices are priced competitively, and I don't mind tying prototypes for you until you get the flight that exactly matches what you need. I have more than one customer that give me very specific instructions for their flights, and I tell them exactly as they want it. And once they're happy, I tie the whole set for them and I ship it. So it's Bejuco Plus Fly Company, Instagram or Facebook.
You had a beautiful jig today on Facebook and Instagram. That red jig, that was absolutely beautiful. And I understand there's a story behind it.
Yeah, I have a customer and friend that he fly fish, and he told me, asked me to tie him some red woolly buggers, synthetic woolly buggers, for to target peacock bass. We have a bunch of peacock bass here in the lakes, and he went fishing with his buddy, and his buddy didn't get like almost any fish, probably one fish, and he was a conventional fisherman. He was spinning and throwing jigs at the fish, and he was pulling peacock bass after peacock bass with my synthetic woolly bugger. And next thing, he called me and said, "Hey, my friend wants to order you a set of woolly buggers, but you need to tie them in jig hooks so he can throw them because he doesn't fly fish." So I went to the store, bought some jig heads, and started tying those for him. So I'll do almost anything.
Yeah, that's really cool because I've got a Big Bad Brian, who's been a guest on the show before. He has bought a lot of these spinners that hook into the eye of a hook, and then you tie your line onto the spinner. And so when we go fishing, he will raid my fly box and grab these spinners or grab these flies and put the spinner on them and then catch fish. But, even if you're not a fly fisherman, even if you're an ultralight fisherman, you can look and get some of these flies, and you may want to do like a Texas rig or Carolina rig, and you can cast the fly out and you can actually use those. And I don't think a lot of fishermen know that, especially bass fishermen, but ultralight fishermen should know that you can do that as well.
Yeah, that's how it started. It's spin fly. I put a bobber and a fly on the end and started trying to catch peacock bass. I used to go to the lake with my fly rod, my only fly rod back then, and my spinning rod. So after I got tired of throwing a bunch of fly line to my feet because I couldn't cast, no matter how hard I try, I took out the spin fly setup, and with the same flies, I started hooking fish here and there. So it's actually not exclusive to fly fishermen. So,
and Pablo, on your excuse me, where people can find you through obviously Instagram and Facebook, but you offer free shipping on all of your flies or most of your flies, correct?
All orders are free shipping. The cost of the shipping is included in the price of the fly.
Yeah, that's great. Makes it nice and simple, easy for people to, sit there and calculate what it's going to cost to get something to you when you include it in the price. They're affordable too, which is just awesome.
And we would ask that with Pablo being a supporter of the show, if you're not tying your own flies, go over and look at Bejuco for us Americans, Bejuco for our Spanish-speaking friends. Go over and look at Bejuco or Bejuco Flats Fly Company. And seriously, give him a try, man. I mean, Pablo's a great guy, Adam's got flies from him. I've got flies in the mail from him. He doesn't know that yet, but he's going to be sending me some flies. And, you know, you've listened to this long into the episode. Go ahead and help a brother out, man. You know, head over there, check out what he's got. And if you're going to go fishing for anything, and if you're thinking about taking a vacation, head down to Puerto Rico because, like he said, you don't need a passport. It's local phone. You can go down there and have a great fishing trip, and it's going to cost you a lot less than to go on one of these crazy vacations. My wife and I are having our 20th anniversary, and she said, "Where do you want to go?" And I said, "I want to go to Pablo's house."
You want to go stay in the cat room.
Exactly.
I'm going to need to upgrade that room then.
But, you know, my wife can sleep out underneath a palm tree. You guys have those down there, right?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, we do.
There we go. We'll bring a hammock.
Okay, that works.
But no, honestly, Pablo, I mean, having you on, I mean, this has been one of the things we've talked about for a long time. And, you know, I know Kevin Spacey's little brother, Adam, is super stoked to finally talk to you. And this is just a great feeling for us. And I know I speak for Adam when I say this. It's a great feeling for us, what you're doing for the podcast, and to have you on. And we've got some better things to come with you as well on this as we go further in the future. But I'm curious how you remember to tie 95 different patterns.
I keep pictures, and I try to remember the materials.
I tie like 8 patterns, and I forget the 9th one. It's,
Sometimes, actually, it's like that. I have to zoom at the picture and remember what material I put there. I have to zoom at the picture and say, okay, this is what I put there. So I need to, at some point, start writing down some recipes.
Well,
I know the hooks and all that.
You ought to video a couple of them, and we'll put them on the Kayak Flyer podcast, or the Kayak Flyer YouTube page. I mean, and then we can go ahead and put your links and everything in there too.
That may work. I thought about making a video, but I'm not good at producing the video. If I can do it just with the music or something in the background, I don't have to narrate it.
Yeah, you can do that, and then I can narrate it if you want somebody to narrate it. I mean, that's not a big deal. We're going to have Kevin Spacey use his silky smooth voice to do it.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, if we're going to keep that label, then let's put it to the muse, right?
It'll be the Kevin Spacey mouse.
Yeah,
just what everybody wants.
Yeah, and the thing is, I will do it, but I don't want people to think that my flies are expensive because of my Morgan Freeman voice.
Pablo, you're an absolute gem. I'm going to tell you that.
Yeah, if people hear me narrating with my Morgan Freeman voice, they see the flies and say, no, these flies are like $20 a piece or something, I'm staying away from those. So I don't want to do that. So.
I used to sit and think, and I know Adam's the same way. I used to sit and think, and I'd watch these videos, and I'm like, why are these guys paying this much for these flies? And then I started fly fishing with a group of guys, and they're not paying me anything, and none of them tie.
Yeah.
I used to think back in the day, I thought everybody that fly fishes ties their own flies, and that's not the case. So if you can
it is not.
Yeah, if you can find a guy that makes great flies like you do with free shipping, I mean, that's a steal. Because when you go to one of these big box stores, they're tied by somebody making a nickel an hour in some sweatshop down in God knows where, you know, and they fall apart in 8 or 9 casts.
Yeah, and the other thing is you can customize. If you don't like the fly, if you don't like what I have posted, you want a different, better fly that will get you that fish you want, just let me know. I'll do it.
That's the amazing thing. And you're an engineer, so you know how to work out all the kinks and everything.
Yeah, I try to, yes. And if somebody has a problem with one of the flies not being to their satisfaction, we can take care of that too. I want my customers to be happy and stay on the water fishing. That's all I want.
Well, what I told you this when we were talking, otherwise, we've got an engineering job up here where I live. So if you want to move up here, I'll move down there where you're at.
I think about it.
It'll be like that wife swap, but it'll be permanent.
One other thing I wanted to say, we have a bunch of fishing operations here. You can book and go fishing. But if you ever, any listener comes to Puerto Rico and want to go fishing by yourself, I can give you some pointers. And you can go find decent fish here and there.
That's very generous of you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely it is. You bet.
Yeah, not a problem, because I know you can spend a pretty penny in paying for people to take you fishing, and that's something that probably you don't want to do every day you're here. But if you want to explore by yourself, I can give you pointers.
Can I say something, Pablo?
Go ahead.
It's really wide of you to tell people you give them pointers, but you won't post the video because people will know where you caught the fish at.
No, the bonefish are a different story. Those are the only ones. Those are the only ones I won't tell anyone.
I think the pretty white of you was lost in translation.
Yeah, the thing is, the bonefish here, some people that fish for sale fish use them as bait, even though they're protected.
Gotcha. Okay, Adam, do you want to explain the joke to him?
I don't even know if I can do it, man. I
Pablo, when we're off air, we'll explain that joke to you.
Okay, no problem.
It's one of those that's lost in translation, like you were telling me a while ago.
Yeah, you have to edit that one out.
Oh, no, we'll leave that one in because the American listeners will find it funny, and the European listeners, especially the English, will be like, what did he say about us, honey?
Oh, gosh.
Oh, Lord, this has been absolutely great, Pablo. And
thank you.
You have been with us, right? You've been a great listener, and you've asked me to support the show, and I told you, please don't, because you're going to be upset by it, because sometimes it can be just such a horror show, because Kevin Spacey's always lurking in the corner. But before we end this, I want to give a quick shout out to Cutthroat Furrowed Leaders, cutthroatfurrowedleaders.com. Mike makes some absolutely incredible leaders, and these aren't the leaders that your buddy watched a YouTube video and decided to make. These don't have steps in them. They don't have notches in them. They're smooth all the way down. Your nymphing leader you can get that has a high-vis line in it, and the line is invisible, and then it pops up, and then it's invisible down to where your tippet goes to. It's incredible. I've caught more fish in the past 3 weeks trout fishing using these leaders than I have caught, and part of it was the river, but I've caught so many fish this week using a nymphing leader and a sinking leader, and then just using a streamer leader depending on how I was going to fish. And I changed leaders each time. They're absolutely great. CutthroatFurrowedLeaders.com. Save 15% promo code kayak. Adam?
Yeah, and of course we have Ethan from StoneflyNets.com. Been gracious enough to join us not only on a podcast but at a partnership level too. Makes wonderful artwork on his nets that can be used not only on the water but also as great wall decor as well. So check out Ethan's products over at StoneflyNets.com. And
Pablo.
Yeah, I think we've said it a few times here. Bejuco Flat Fly Company. Look me in Facebook and Instagram and let me know what you're looking for, what fish are you targeting, how's the color of your bottom, what fly do you need, and I'll work with you. And if you say you hear it on this podcast, you're going to get an extra fly free. And that's like 33% because I said sell my flies in sets of 3.
And Pablo, I'm just going to tell you, we're going to talk like we always do, but we're going to have a fly swap between you and I, and we're gonna post those on our Instagrams together, so that people can see what I sent you and what you saw and what you sent me, and they can see the quality of what you do, and they can see how bad you got cheated.
When is it that you're going to Louisiana? When is it?
I'm going the first weekend of October. Are you going
Okay.
Can you paddle up to us?
No, but I can tell you. But I can get you some flights to use there. So
Right. That was a cheap shot, dude. I'm sorry. You said you didn't.
That was
I
really
know.
really cheap. But I can't. I'm not gonna lie. That got me. I was cracking
I
up.
wanted you to
I don't
feel
mind doing it,
loved.
but
I wanted you to.
no.
feel loved.
The cruel part of that is that I just told him a few minutes ago that the sea is rough. I
Paddle
told you the sea is
stronger.
rough this time of year, so he doesn't even say, okay, do you want to try it in summer when it's calm? No. He wants me to do it in the waves. No, I won't do that.
Well, once you get past it, the next hurricane will just blow you up here. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Hope we don't get one of those in the next 20 years at least.
Ride that last wave up as it comes across Cuba.
Yeah.
Oh Lord.
Oh gosh.
Oh, I think we pretty much spent this episode, guys. If I keep talking,
Yeah.
Great home, Sean.
if I keep talking, I'm not gonna have any friends left. Pablo's ready to pull his sponsorship at this point in time.
No, I'm not.
All right. Well, let's give our friend Jorge a shout out just because he sent me a text message the other day and said, dude, you gave me a shout out. I'm like, yeah, I'll give you a shout out every once in a while. And we'll give a shout out to our buddy Chris Ellis, who just survived a hurricane off North Carolina. So we're going to give him a shout out too. The eye wall stayed about 20 miles off the coast. And the folks in the Bahamas probably need our help because they really got hammered. And I don't know. I know less about the Bahamas than I know about Puerto Rico, but they probably need our help. But find a charity that's not going to rob you of your money to pay for administrative fees. Find an actual charity if you're going to donate to the Bahamas. Do something with them. Don't do some of the other charities that I will not mention that spend a bunch of the money on bullshit.
Yeah, and one other thing I heard from the Prime Minister of Bahamas, the part that is affected, the Bahamas is like 700 islands. The part that is affected is 15% of the archipelago, right? So 85% of the hotel rooms are available in the other islands.
Wow.
So if you don't want to give your money away to a charity or something, go visit the Bahamas. They have the 85% of the hotels there are up and running in the other islands, not the two big.
Let's plug that then. That's the best thing to do. Go down to the Bahamas. Like Pablo said, 85% are still open. Go for a trip to the Bahamas.
Yeah, if you don't want to give your money to charity, and just go visit them and support the tourism there. There's still plenty of bonefish and good fish to catch on the other islands.
When you spend the money down there, it doesn't just go to that one island. It goes to the whole chain.
Exactly.
So yeah, don't spend your money on charities where people are taking money out of your pocket and padding theirs. Go ahead and book a trip to the Bahamas, and go ahead and book a trip down to the Puerto Rico, and look for some of our friends down there. Follow us on Instagram at Kayak Flyer. Email us kayakflyerpodcast@gmail.com or Kayak Flyer on Facebook, and you can always give us a call. The hotline number is 317-456-25. Whoa, I don't have my glasses on. That's going to be awkward.
2534.
Go ahead and say that one more time.
It's 317-456-2534.
This is what happens when you get old. Kevin Spacey has to pick up the slack.
That's what he does.
Pablo, this has been absolutely incredible. And this episode couldn't have been possible without your support. This is your episode, buddy, and I thank you very much.
No, thank you for having me on. It's a pleasure. I enjoy this podcast a lot. It keeps me company when I'm tired at night. So.
Well, whenever you want to come back on, Pablo, you know you just have to let us know because we love talking to you, man.
Same here. Yeah.
Yeah, it's been a blast.
Translate some more of those jokes into English.
I'll try. I'll do my best.
All right. Well, this is Sean.
And Adam.
And Pablo.
And we're thanking you for listening to the Kayak Flyer podcast.